Brittany Lewis has been following that story all afternoon and is in Cordova now with the latest there. Good evening, Brittany.
Hi there, Jason. Well, inside the plant right now, they are trying to figure out what exactly caused there to be smoke in one of the units. Office detectives here met with detectives from both Rock Island and Davenport in Rochester, Minnesota, which is about an hour south of here. Right now, when golfers come to this golf course, they hit golf balls off the tee. Soon, they will also be able to kick soccer balls off of it. If there was ever a time a person might need their best friend,
My best friend, Dusty Dykema, this was his home.
it might be at a time like this.
I pulled into the wrong street. I had no idea where I was at. I was like, our house is gone.
This pile of debris is Dusty Dykema's home.
It's still not recognizable, honestly.
Dusty is originally from Bettendorf.
He built most of it from the inside himself, and now it's just wiped away.
Jay Foster still calls Bettendorf home. Tuesday, he drove to Washington with some supplies to help his best friend dig through the mess.
It's jaw-dropping. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Just around the corner, Galesburg firefighter Ben Johnson,
This was our front door.
helping his aunt with what is left of her house.
We're mainly clearing out their basement, whatever we can grab that isn't filled with water or isn't damaged already.
His aunt,
Very sad, but happy.
happy because her family is okay, but her photo albums nowhere to be found.
I don't have any pictures. They're all gone. And that makes me saddest.
But just as we were saying goodbye to her,
The whole album.
Some of it.
Of
There's mom and
Mom.
dad. Look at that.
Oh my golly.
we also found Tammy Miller, originally from East Moline.
It looks like a war zone.
Her home in Washington is okay, so she's helping neighbors.
We take a day at a time and we're all pulling together.
The messages on garages say it all. Many here considering themselves lucky.
I couldn't have got much luckier.
Just look at his baby girl's crib, nearly untouched. And lucky, of course, for his best friend Jay.
And he says how many? I'll make sure we have that many here.
In Washington, Brittany Lewis, WQAD News 8. On Presley Circle,
I don't think people find this area on purpose. I think they find it by accident.
there are only 3 homes.
They're all right here, that it's empty over there. So
Other than the occasional train passing, there's not much that goes on here.
usually we're pretty isolated and quiet out here.
But Saturday evening,
20 squad cars and 40, 50 policemen and sheriffs and other authorities, I guess. And
Kyle Kragenbrink says it was in this wooded area that the owner of the property found Carrie Olson.
when it hits that close to home, that's a little scary.
That shocked us, and especially when we found out she was from Iowa. That's even more shocking.
Jesse Vile lives in the circle too.
Yeah, we walk it quite a bit, especially when snow started melting. It's got nice out. We take the kids around there, and my wife jogs around there, and nothing. Never noticed anything.
Both neighbors say they never noticed anything suspicious in the past few months.
No.
When you turn in here, there's no driveways and that you can't see the homes. So we keep an eye out for each other. So if we see a car that we know doesn't belong, we kind of mention it. And I can't think of anything that that we remember that was suspicious, I guess.
And while what happened Saturday hits close to home, the thoughts of those living in this circle are with those hundreds of miles away.
I guess first and foremost, our hearts go out to the family. It's just tragic news. I'm sure they were hoping for a different outcome.
I feel bad for her family, and like I said, hopefully they bring justice, for her. It's sad.
When words are all you have, how do you find the right ones?
And this is very bad. Very bad. Yeah.
As a dad, what do you say to the judge about the man who hurt your daughter?
When she's telling you she don't want to go to school, her grades went way down, and you let a person like this teach your kids. They're in an environment where you trust people. That's why they're there. This should not go on.
That man, Daniel Schneiderman, resting his head on his hand the entire hearing, his eyes down, even when he spoke.
There isn't a day that goes by that I don't wish I could change things that have happened. I've failed in so many levels.
You have 2 victims, 2 separate people that have been negatively affected by your conduct.
The judge not holding back his words.
That the crimes that you pled guilty to are wrong.
Wrong for carrying on a relationship with a girl when she was 14, having physical contact with a victim in school, sending sexual text messages to the two girls, even threatening them.
You threatened one victim to cut her throat, to kill her.
The girls at the hearing, but their words read out loud.
She writes, "I've become antisocial. I lost all my friends."
The judge sentencing him to 10 years, taking him away in handcuffs. Nothing more to say. In Davenport, Brittany Lewis, WQAD News 8. Behind the boxers in this ring are black and white photos of the man
I'll be 45 this year. In my time, that was my superhero.
who made it possible for them to be here.
He's somebody, when I grew up, I feared and respected and honored what he was doing. And as I got older, I couldn't help but love what he's done for us.
Alvino Pena opened the Davenport Boxing Club in 1968.
He just told me he just wanted to make a difference. 1, 2.
Working 2 jobs to keep it open, Alvino invited kids into the ring who had been knocked down or needed a positive place to put their feet.
He loved every kid, black, white, purple, Chinese. It didn't make a difference. Boom, 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 boom.
Leonard Overstreet was one of those kids.
He loved me when I didn't love myself.
He started boxing with Alvino when he was 9.
One move. If he didn't yell at you, you must didn't have no talent. Let your hands go.
Leonard did and had a promising boxing career until he was sent to prison for drugs. When he got out 12 years later, it was Alvino who was there, making him promise he'd stay on the straight and narrow.
And I'm gonna do it, Alvino. I promise you, I'm gonna do that.
Alvino helped thousands of other kids and coached some to regional, national, even world titles.
Here in his hometown of Davenport, Iowa,
Michael Nunn and Antoine Eccles, to name a few. In 1999, he was inducted to the National Golden Gloves Hall of Fame, and a few years later into the Quad City Sports Hall of Fame.
He's put together a legacy.
His pride was in his gym, there every day without pay.
They don't make men like him anymore. That man's a father, he's a leader, he's a dream maker, and he's my superhero.
And although he's gone after his own fight with Alzheimer's and cancer,
I know he would want me to be here today.
what Alvino Pena stood for and worked for will live on through people like Leonard Overstreet.
Coming here every day is what I gotta do to get a piece of him. Knowing that he's gonna smile down on me, that's what I'm gonna do.
Who is now a coach in Pena's gym. In Davenport, Brittany Lewis, WQAD News 8.
Here he comes.
There he is.
All right, circle back, buddy. Got it.
They come from all over.
Rockford, Illinois. Western Michigan.
Photographers with camouflage coats and cameras, lenses as big as their face.
We kind of knew ahead of time that there would be a lot of photographers here.
Just to take pictures of the eagles.
Flying through the sky, landing on the trees. Eagles are the reason these photographers
Here it comes.
We love to photograph the eagles.
There's a lot of birds out there today.
Oh, here we go, right here.
But there is one shot
That's a yes.
many here want to get.
When you get the claws just ready to grab the fish.
I want to get it just as it's got its talons out.
But that's a moment
Challenging to get.
that's often even out of reach of these 800-millimeter lenses.
It's never perfect.
No fish separator.
So sometimes help rolls in.
Those are shad, and that's normally what the eagles eat.
Some throw the fish in the water.
I can only throw the fish out maybe 20 feet.
So what's an eagle photographer to do?
And that's what I invented. Over here is my fish launchers.
In 2 days, we saw 2 different fish launchers.
The eagles will readily go for fish that we put out in the river.
It's been revised like 3 times.
It's got a tilting mechanism on it that I can aim the fish wherever I want.
Both help the photographers get the eagles right where they want them.
I do get pictures without it, but I get a lot better pictures by doing it because they'll come closer.
The eagles lets them take the fish out of the river right in the spot where I can focus real well with the camera.
What did you think when you heard the term fish launcher?
I didn't quite know what they were, my first thought was, oh, it's probably like a potato gun. But no,
Jeff Harrison is a state conservation officer with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources.
I'll wait until he spins around a little bit.
And says there's nothing illegal about what they're doing.
In case he sees it.
They just need to make sure that they obtain the fish from this area. They can't bring any live fish into the state.
And there are rules about who they can buy from, too.
You can only buy fish from a licensed commercial fisherman or commercial dealer.
It's on the verge of becoming a potential problem.
Kelly McKay has been researching bald eagles for around 30 years.
The trees are just packed over there. I would kind of lean towards not favoring that.
He says on one hand, by launching fish into the water, the eagles are getting food. But on the other, the eagles could start associating people with food.
That can only have, in the end, negative impacts to the birds.
So what should photographers do?
Go out and work for the photographs and try to do it naturally, because you're going to have much less of a negative impact on the birds.
I actually might have some shots myself that were due to baiting, but I would actually sit down here on the ground instead of up on the row, so that hopefully the shots that I got weren't relying on baiting.
Rich says in his time photographing eagles, he's never agreed with baiting.
It's the danger that can happen to the eagles themselves.
And as a photographer, he says launching fish for the eagles raises questions about the ethics behind the photos these photographers get.
I've been known to sit for 4 hours waiting for a shot. If you have to do that, and if you have to learn the patterns of what you're photographing so that you can get better shots of them instead of baiting.
It was hard to find a photographer to say that. Much easier to find ones that say it's okay. Do you feel like by baiting the fish that you're kind of staging the photograph?
No doubt, but I don't mind. I give them a meal and they give me a picture, hopefully.
They'll start fighting.
Many here argue this is natural.
Yeah, he's going to come down forward, I think.
They're still taking the fish out of the river just like they would in the wild.
You're right, they do feed on them naturally. So get your photographs as they're feeding on them naturally.
Passionate debate.
It might be cheating a little bit, but it would be a long afternoon if we waited for them just to fish on their own.
From the people who research.
I think in the end, it's not going to be a good thing for the birds.
Who photograph.
It just is more satisfying when you can say, yeah, I took that shot and I did not bait that bird.
And come from all over for these bald eagles. In LeClaire, Brittany Lewis, WQAD News 8.